Hello fellow clear mind enjoyers. Let me show you the new best synchron list for Master Duel. Konami really blessed us with the anniversary by giving us Junk Meister, Junk Armor, and Junk Signal, which is a massive upgrade for the deck in MD. The unfortunate part is that we still don't have Assault Sonic Warrior. I assume he'll arrive together with the Assault mode support. There have been some rumors about it, so it should happen sooner rather than later, but for now this is what we're working with. As you can see, we're finally down to 40 cards, which honestly feels amazing by Master Duel standards. This version of the deck can protect Junk Speeder very easily with one-card combos, so if you're playing against this deck, I highly recommend not holding your Disruption for Speeder. In most cases, he'll already be protected, and it's much better to interrupt cards like Synchro Fellows or Scrap Warrior instead. Something TCG players will probably be curious about is the Snake Eye package and how good it actually is in Synchrons, which I'll explain later, but for now let's do a quick rundown of what the deck is made of. The Synchron Monster Core consists of 2 Stardust Synchron, 1 to 2 Junk Synchron, 1 Assault Synchron, 1 Jet Synchron, and 1 Scrap Synchron. For now, Stardust Synchron is our only real Synchron starter, even though he isn't very good yet, but he will get significantly better with future support. Junk Synchron is the card the new support is built around. You can technically play him at 1, but 2 copies feel much better. Without Assault Sonic Warrior, I don't feel comfortable cutting him to 1, since hard drawing him lowers our resilience and reduces our access to Synchro Fellows. Assault Synchron gives us extra lines and more disruption, especially because he can bring back Shooting Majestic Star Dragon. Jet Synchron is our main gateway into the new support cards, and Scrap Synchron is mostly here as an engine requirement, but his effect actually comes up fairly often. He can be used as material from the hand for monsters that mention a Synchron in their material requirements, such as Junk Speeder or Scrap Warrior. We also run 1 Full Speed Warrior. He's basically a Stratos and technically a starter, but not a great one, and he's mainly here as an engine requirement. On summon, he searches a spell or trap that mentions Junk Warrior or directly searches Junk Synchron. Another required engine piece is Sonic Chick. This card helps us access Speeder from the Stardust Synchron line. If a tuner is sent from the field to the graveyard, Sonic Chick can special summon itself from the hand or the graveyard. Now let's get to the real power cards of the deck, Junk Meister and Junk Armor. Junk Meister is essentially a power-crept Snake Eye Ash. He reveals a Stardust Dragon monster or a card that mentions Junk Warrior in the extra deck to special summon himself, and on summon he searches any Junk card. The most common target is Junk Armor. Junk Armor is basically Snake Eye Poplar and Lone Fire Blossom combined. If he's added to the hand, he can special summon himself, and while on the field he has a Lone Fire style effect that special summons a Synchron monster directly from the deck. For spells and traps, we run 1 Synchro Fellowship and 1 Junk Signal. Synchro Fellowship searches a monster that mentions Stardust Dragon or Junk Warrior, as well as Junk Synchron. When it's in the graveyard, it can banish itself to reduce the level of a Synchro monster by 1 and grant us an additional normal summon of a Synchron monster. Junk Signal is a true multi-purpose card. It can be used as an extender by tributing a monster on the field to special summon a monster that mentions Junk Warrior or Stardust Dragon from the deck or graveyard, or it can be used defensively. If the opponent responds to the activation of a Synchro monster's effect, Junk Signal can negate that activation, which means even an Ash Blossom used on Junk Speeder can be stopped. In my opinion, this deck heavily relies on a strong supporting engine. Without Assault Sonic Warrior, we can't use Emergency Teleport with Psy Reflector, so we need a different solution, and Master Duel having original Sinful Spoils legal gives us exactly that. We run 1 Snake Eye Ash and 1 Poplar. Snake Eye Ash searches Poplar, and Poplar can special summon himself when added to the hand, then search original Sinful Spoils. If Poplar is sent to the graveyard, he can place a fire monster from the grave into the spell and trap zone. Original Sinful Spoil sends a card from the field to the graveyard to summon a level 1 fire monster from the deck, which is how we access Jet Synchron. Because we already have a non-tuner on the field, we can immediately Synchro Summon, trigger Jet Synchron search effect, and gain access to Junk Meister. The second searcher for original Sinful Spoils is Diabellstar. She can discard a card from the hand or field to special summon herself and then set original Sinful Spoils directly from the deck. A bonus card I decided to include is Examiner LZ. This deck has a real issue with non-tuner access after resolving Speeder, and since Rage Rose isn't in Master Duel yet, LZ fills that gap nicely. She's easy to search, can be accessed mid-combo, and also gives us additional lines into Snake Eye and Diabellstar for more non-tuner bodies and extensions. The rest of the deck is filled with non-engine. My core recommendations are 2 Droll, 1 Maxx C, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Fuwalos, and 1 Called by the Grave. These are cards I personally consider mandatory. The remaining slots depend on what you want to counter. Ghost Bell is a very strong option right now since it's rarely dead and is useful into almost every meta deck, including K9, where it can stop Lapus from special summoning itself from the graveyard when going first. Its main applications are against Dracatail traps and Lollipo Yummy to prevent them from climbing too far. If you want to annoy Dracatail even more, Red Reboot is worth considering and also functions as protection against Imperm. I've had games where my opponent tried to Imperm me while holding Fuwalos, and because I had Red Reboot, I ended up outing both at the same time. Other decent options include Imperm, Crow, Ghost Ogre, Nibiru, and Droplet, though Droplet can be awkward since we already discard a lot with the Snake Eye and Diabellstar engine. Be careful right now, K9 can punish you when you use monster hand traps. For the extra deck, Formula Synchron is unfortunately the best level 2 synchro we have access to, because it has Synchron in the name. Marcher helps with certain climb lines, and Starham is a very strong option under Droll so we don't completely lose to it. If we can access Starham, we essentially still have access to Junk Speeder, though it comes at the cost of 3 discards. Scrap Warrior is another important card from the new support. On summon, he searches any card that mentions Junk Warrior and can also send a card directly from the deck to the graveyard, which can occasionally help play through Droll. Herald of the Arclight is our main insulation tool to protect Junk Speeder. Junk Speeder himself is, of course, a completely fair and balanced card. Rusiella searches Examiner LZ to give us more non-tuner access and smoother climbs. Stardust Dragon and Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon are no longer as important for speeder insulation, so I mainly use them for synchro climbing. Wolfrayet is my go-to option for making a strong half-board. He's incredibly easy to access in this version and performs very well into K9 and Yummy. Barone is here because she's also fair and balanced, but once we get all the future Synchron support, she'll probably be one of the first cards to get cut. Dissipator is still a solid extender and disruption piece, even though we don't banish opponent cards as consistently anymore. Shooting Majestic Star Dragon is our main boss monster, and we access him through Duration and Crimson Dragon. That wraps up the deck profile, but before we move on to the combo section, I need to give a fair warning. Once Assault Sonic Warrior is released, we are almost certainly dropping the Snake Eye and Diabellstar package entirely. You can play pure Synchrons right now, but it's significantly worse than this version, so that decision is up to you. With that said, let's move on to the combo section. The first combo I want to show you is the best starter of the deck, Junk Meister. This line protects Junk Speeder through Herald of the Arclight, and we're also utilizing Jet Synchron Search effect to grab Junk Synchron. Meister changes his level to 3, and then we synchro summon into Herald. Jet Synchron triggers and searches Junk Synchron, and from there we simply use our normal summon. Stardust Synchron searches Junk Signal, but since we don't really need Signal later in the combo, we can just use it as discard fodder for Rusiella. Rusiella then gives us access to Examiner LZ, and from there we go into Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. With LZ, we grab Wanted, which searches Diabellstar and gives us access to the Snake Eye engine. After that, we can summon Barone and transition into the Snake Eye plays. Marcher brings back any level 1, and we go into Formula Synchron, so we have a level 2 body available to make Dissipator and trigger Assault Synchron in the graveyard. Then we summon Duration, bring back Assault Synchron again, and go into Crimson Dragon to tag into Shooting Majestic Star Dragon. This is our best play while running the minimal amount of bricks. But trust me, once we get Assault Sonic Warrior and Crimson Dragon Quetzalcoatl, things are going to get a lot crazier. The second combo starts with Snake Eye Ash. We normal summon Ash and, by now, you know the drill: search Poplar, activate Poplar, special summon Poplar, and grab original Sinful Spoils. Then we special summon Jet Synchron and go into Formula Synchron. This gives us a draw and a search for Junk Meister. Next, we go into Scrap Warrior to get Synchro Fellows. If Scrap Warrior gets stopped here, we can still pivot into Junk Speeder, so we're not out of the game. Once we gain access to an additional normal summon, we reduce Scrap Warrior's level and synchro into Herald of the Arc Light. From there, we normal summon Junk Synchron and go straight into Speeder, chain blocking it with Sonic Chick. After Speeder resolves, we go into an early Marcher to revive a level 1 tuner so we can make Rusiella and search Azamina LZ. Rusiella can send Poplar to the graveyard, which saves us a bit of card advantage. We then special summon LZ and Synchro into Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, bringing back Formula Synchron. LZ also searches Wanted. Now we activate Excel Stardust's effect to go into Dissipator and trigger Assault Synchron. From there, we summon Crimson Dragon. Unlike the first line, this time we revive Assault Synchron and use Junk Signal on it to bring back Stardust Dragon. That allows us to summon Duration and climb into Shooting Majestic Star Dragon. Wanted then searches Diabellstar, and we finish the board with Barone to wrap everything up. Since the Diabellstar line is essentially the same as the Snake Eye Ash line, just without Barone on the end board, I won't yap too much here. So just sit back, enjoy the combo, and watch it unfold without my commentary this time. Now we're getting into the weaker lines. We're starting off with the normal summon of Full Speed Warrior. He searches Synchro Fellows, and Fellows grabs a Scrap Synchron and Junk Synchron. From there we go into Scrap Warrior to search Junk Signal. Important here, we are not using Signal as material because we actually need it as protection in this line. Also keep in mind, this combo improves drastically if we have a discard for Rusiella, so any extra extender makes this much cleaner. Next, we normal summon Junk Synchron and transition into Speeder. We summon Herald first for insulation, then go into Rusiella to trigger Jet Synchron search for Junk Meister. We summon Meister, grab Junk Armor, and then reduce Meister's level by 2 to go into Excel Stardust Dragon. It's important that we use Meister here because we still need armor for a different play later. Excel Stardust summons back a level 1 tuner, and we go into Starham to turn Junk Armor into a tuner. Then we use Excel Stardust's effect to summon Dissipator, which triggers Assault Synchron to bring Excel Stardust back. From here we go into Duration, revive Assault Synchron, and climb into Crimson Dragon, which gives us access to shooting Majestic Star Dragon. Unfortunately, in this version we can't convert Starham and Stardust Synchron into anything meaningful at the end. If you're willing to run a level 7 Synchro like FA Dawn Dragster, though, you can clean that up and squeeze out a bit more value. The next two combo lines are the worst the deck has access to because they basically lose to everything. The first bad starter is Synchro Fellows. We grab Full Speed Warrior and Junk Synchron, and we immediately normal summon Junk Synchron to go straight into Speeder. With a lot of luck, Speeder will resolve here. After Speeder resolves, we go into Rusiella and search Azamina LZ to gain access to Diabellstar and the Snake Eyes engine. At the same time, Jet Synchron searches for Junk Meister. Meister special summons himself, grabs Junk Armor, and then reduces Armor's level by 1 to go into Starham. Next, we reduce Rusiella's level by 1 to summon Excel Stardust Dragon, and Stardust brings back Jet Synchron. From here, we continue with the usual line. Excel Stardust activates its effect to summon Dissipator, which triggers Assault Synchron to revive Excel Stardust. We then go into Crimson Dragon, summon LZ, and use her to make Marcher, grabbing Wanted. Marcher revives Rusiella, which lets us climb into Barone. After that, we special summon Diabellstar, tribute over Junk Synchron with Stardust Synchron to summon Duration, and finally use Dissipator to revive Assault Synchron. We immediately send Assault off for Snake Eye Ash, then go into Herald to close out the game in this very imaginary, everything resolved perfectly line. And yes, this one only works if your opponent basically does nothing. The next line is even more imaginary because, to make it even worth showing, I had to cheat a little and give myself a discard for Rusiella. Other than that, it's basically the exact same line you've already seen, so I won't yap about it again. After this combo, I'll show you some replays with the deck. I hope you enjoy them, and let's look forward to Assault Sonic Warrior and the next wave of support together. See you guys in the next video. Death Echo out.